Midday, 13th of December 2011. Gianluca Casseri is walking through Piazza Dalmazia, main square of Rifredi, District 5 in Florence, the Tuscan capital city. He had recently moved to his new house in the town, situated at less than 10 minutes by foot from the square, in Piazza del Terzolle. Casseri is a 50-year-old Italian accountant, writer, activist and militant associated with the controversial far-right Casa Pound party, founded just 8 years prior, in 2003. Described as an introverted man by Lorenzo Berti, spokesman of the Pistoia division of Casa Pound, who had met him a few times prior. Although he had no criminal record, he was known to law enforcement due to prior public order crimes such as unauthorized demonstrations, threats, contempt, and resistance to a police officer. During his walk, he spots a group of Senegalese men running a street market among the other vendors and the passers-by, so he approaches them. What happens next is unclear. Italian papers such as La Repubblica, which wrote the article I'm currently quoting, simply reported a possible altercation between Casseri and the men. Minutes later, witnesses see him leaving. Tragically, this is just the start of his rampage. The 50-year-old gets in his Volkswagen Polo and swiftly drives back to the place, double parking the vehicle. What the witnesses are about to discover is that he is carrying a loaded .357 Smith & Wesson Magnum. A few footsteps later, he reaches for the weapon and starts the attack, firing it towards the three. Tragically, the lives of 40-year-old Samb Modou and 54-year-old Diop Mor end as a result of his first fatal blows. The third man, 37-year-old Mustafa Dieng, luckily survives the hit, but is left with great damage to his back and would unfortunately end up in a wheelchair as a result. Screams begin to fill the air as Casseri quickly runs back to his vehicle. A shop owner tries to block his way, but the murderer is not backing down, as he points his weapon at him and says something along the lines of, "I don't think that's a good idea," managing to flee. For the next 2 hours, Florence is immersed in chaos. The police is patrolling and tirelessly looking for that dark grey Volkswagen Polo on every road, even the highways. Nothing is found. The clock then strikes 3 p.m. and suddenly other gunshots were heard. The man had left his car under the San Lorenzo Market parking lot, around 3 kilometers away from the first location, Piazza Dalmazia. After a brief jog towards the San Lorenzo Market, he starts his hunt for more victims. Upon spotting 32-year-old Mor, he opens fire and successfully hits him once in the chest after the vendor was thankfully able to absorb the first 3 shots with his arms. This time though, people know what's up. It isn't just the panic of locals and tourists that inflames the air, but also a steady counteraction. 42-year-old Mbengue Cheikh is the last man to face the brutality of Casseri, just seconds apart from the penultimate attack, because from that very last shot, a group of carabinieri, the Italian military police, start chasing the perpetrator as he tries to reach his car again, with a smoking gun in his hands. A rapid run takes him back to the car. An officer fires twice against it. But then, him and his colleagues watch as the murderer places his cursed device in his mouth and ends it once and for all. 31 days after this event, on the 13th of January 2012, the municipal administration of Florence, under the representation of Matteo Renzi, mayor of the city from 2009 to 2014, as well as politician, ex-prime minister and senator of the Italian Republic, dedicated a headstone to the 2 deceased vendors in Piazza Dalmazia that reads, "For Mor Diop and for Samb Modou, killed by racist and fascist hands, 13th of December 2011. On Google Maps, the tribute first appeared in May of 2012, and 10 years later, in February of 2022, commemorative graffiti filled the walls of the parking lot entrance attached to the memorial. The 3 survivors, Mustafa Dieng, Mor and Cheikh Mbengue, were granted Italian citizenship on the 2nd of June 2013 by the Council of Ministers, led by Enrico Letta. On the bright side, the Piazza Dalmazia 9 memorial lasted almost 11 consecutive years, without suffering any significant defilement or vandal attacks, and was only notably damaged for the first time by unidentified individuals on the 21st of November 2023, as an article published by the journalistic group 055 Firenze reported. This unfortunately brings us closer to the core of this video, because the second and last severe ruination of the memorial up to date went on to be instrumentalized in a dishonorably inhumane and cowardly act of excremental journalism. It all starts on the evening of the 27th of August of 2025, again in Florence. The time is 7:25 p.m., approximately half an hour before sunset would eventually wrap the city in a dark blanket. People are still around the square minding their business, and everything is nice and normal. At some point, a man whose identity I will reveal later stumbles across the square and sees the marble sign in honor of the two victims. So, a bright idea crosses his mind, jumping up and clinging both hands on the sign to dangle his whole weight on the memorial. And that's exactly what he does, all while being recorded by the cameras around him, as shown in a video released by the Italian state police. Eventually, the structure can no longer withstand all his weight and it collapses to the ground, breaking the marble sign into pieces. I will provide you all the information regarding the man's identity as promised once this next part is complete, so please stay with me here now. FANPAGE is an online newspaper born in January of 2010 and officially registered at the Court of Naples on July 26, 2011, on the initiative of its founder Gianluca Cozzolino. A year after that, the paper decides to start a tightly knit collaboration with journalist and writer Saverio Tommasi, which is still ongoing. The same infamous Saverio Tommasi decides to make a Facebook post on his official account, Samb Tommasi, to advertise his article on FANPAGE, implicitly claiming to know precisely who destroyed the marble sign. His post was made just minutes after the release of said article on the website, published on the 29th of August of 2025 at around midday. The lifespan of both the post and the article was very brief, as the police released the identity of the man just a few hours later, since FirenzeToday, the main city newspaper, revealed the information to the public at 3:34 p.m. His words to his hundreds of thousands of followers on Facebook were, "They destroyed the plaque in memory of Samb Modou and Diop Mor at night, moving like sleepwalkers or rats. However, it's more likely they were fascists. What do you think?" Saverio Tommasi. Then, the link to the article. This is where it starts to get comically worse. Fascists don't exist, but they destroyed the plaque in memory of two men slaughtered by fascists. As much as I would love to read you the rest of this mentally delirious tantrum, I cannot drag this video for too long. So I will play on screen a brief series of screenshots of the whole piece with the English translation on the side, for those of you who may be interested. In essence, this man instrumentalized this memorial ruination to vomit out a series of mentions and attacks towards politicians as well as regular civilians that he deems to be fascist threats to the whole world. In the context of a dark and saddening fascist arrival prophecy, where Tommasi wants to view himself as a visionary lunatic, he spews words left and right meant to provoke an emotional response in the reader, starting off with a big image of white, bald-headed Italian men commemorating the centenary of the birth of the Italian Fascists of Combat, organization founded by Benito Mussolini in Milan in 1919.
La celebrazione romana del 19° annuale della fondazione dei fasci di combattimento.
A picture meant to be representative of the same evil force that wrecked the living memory of the murdered Senegalese men. A picture that exudes whiteness. He then goes on to talk about a case of fascist salutes and slogans in the youth division of Brothers of Italy, the current ruling party. Next, he mentions Elon Musk's salute, the Al-Masri case, some babbling about how the Remigration Summit is just a masked version of deportations, then Casa Pound, even Jesus Christ, and lastly, a striking quote by the former Italian president Sandro Pertini. All ideas deserve respect. Fascism doesn't, for it is not an idea, but it is the death of all ideas. Fun fact, the word fascism and its derivations are present 15 times in the article. This person even got the name of the actual fascist wrong by writing Gianluigi Casseri instead of Gianluca, highlighting how this article must not even have been reread a single time after he wrote it initially. As promised, let's unmask the vandal. Thanks to the cooperation between the Florence police forces in conjunction with the DIGOS, General Investigations and Special Operations Division, the moronic mind behind the destruction of the plaque was uncovered. A 24-year-old Moroccan citizen under the influence of drugs. Wow! Known to law enforcement. As if that wasn't enough, the authorities denied any racist or fascist motive behind this imbecile move, charging the individual only with aggravated damage, invoking Article 635 of the Penal Code. Saverio Tommasi is now met with a key question. What shall I do? Should I exercise intellectual honesty, a committed, non-partisan approach to seeking truth where facts are valued over personal beliefs or winning arguments, and therefore be a real journalist, someone that reports on news based on concrete evidence? No. Like the vile coward he is, he decides to remove both the nauseating article on a fan page and naturally the shameful Facebook post that advertised it. Following the removals, FanPage and Tommasi refused to apologize, hoping that people would just forget about this unforgivable act of disgraceful propaganda, given the swift intervention. But thankfully, a number of Italian papers and even some politicians had the courage to call them out, such as the well-known national newspaper Il Giornale and member of the European Parliament Silvia Sardone, who posted on our official Instagram page quoting Il Giornale's article, denouncing FanPage and other left-wing politicians and union members who were quick to scream out this lie of a fascist strike on the remembrance of this attack. I must thank from the bottom of my heart the person or the people that decided to capture the webpage of the FanPage article through the Wayback Machine service, available on archive.org. In the midst of all this tragic cowardice, there are still people who care about truth and respect in this world. If you wish to try it yourself, this is the link to the article released by FanPage. If you were to paste it on any browser, although the search would bring you to the website, it would display an error message. Oops, we are sorry, but the page that you tried to open cannot be viewed for some reason. The page might have been removed, updated, or cancelled. Otherwise, you have entered an incorrect address. Please check if you have typed it correctly. If the problem persists, you can try to contact us. As if they would ever cooperate in providing an article they were so desperate to remove. Simply put, Saverio Tommasi and FanPage do not speak about the vandal attack anymore because it does not fit their fomenting political narrative. They cannot afford to even mention the incident due to the fact that a Moroccan has done it. Thus, they totally suppress the whole thing. The harsh proof of the fact that any of the murdered and injured Senegalese men are simply tools in the eyes of Saverio Tommasi and any other of these so-called journalists that proclaim to champion for the respect and, in this case, the memory of these victims, is the total refusal to speak about it ever again, because the vandal was a high Moroccan instead of an evil white fascist man. Go on FanPage yourself and look for any of the words that could link back to the destruction of the memorial, and you will feel like an illiterate toddler gliding through the keyboard writing senseless clumps of text. I fascisti non esistono. The fascists don't exist. The opening of the removed article's title, nothing. Digging through the sand, dirty hands is all you'll get. It is unspeakable that the people who claim to be fighting for a worthy cause of justice, humanity, dignity in the name of the oppressed shut their mouths when it is not convenient to cover certain news. This is not what any person with a crumb of sincere humanity would ever do. Nope. Regular civilians have no obligation to denounce and spread the word about events. But a journalist should promise to tell the truth and nothing but the truth, in the same way a witness does so in court. And a doctor vows the Hippocratic Oath, swearing to respect a set of ethical rules for the entirety of his or her medical career. Perhaps we are too demanding from the same person that didn't even get the name of the shooter right, calling him Gianluigi instead of Gianluca, even though there are over 100 articles and internet pages that echo his full name. FanPage had even written an article on the day of the Florence shooting where the name was actually written correctly. I would love to lie to you by saying that FanPage is just a minute, almost insignificant report. Because first of all, that would allow me to believe the tale that only a few hundreds or a few thousands of Italians are shamelessly lied to and alarmed under inaccurate and laughable pretenses. Sadly, the global media analytics company Comscore recorded enormous traffic flowing through FanPage. Thanks to one of the firm's most important tools, TDA, Total Digital Audience, Comscore is able to release monthly reports of the top 100 Italian media by Total Digital Audience. Prima Online is the real-time news website linked to Prima Comunicazione, literally first communication, an Italian magazine specializing in the world of information and communication, which dates back all the way to 1973. It is a monthly occurrence for the website to release a comprehensive analysis of the Comscore data for its readers. So, in this article published on the 7th of October 2025, named Ranking of the Most Visited News Sites, Social Media Way Less, by the Prima Online editorial team, the Comscore TDA data of the top 100 Italian websites relative to August of 2025 is attached. Tommasi's article on the fascists was published on the 29th of the same month. FANPAGE.IT is ranked 7th out of 100 of the most visited websites in the entire country. Hysterically flagged as news, Comscore recorded 18,303,000 unique visitors, as shown under the section titled Unique Visitors August 2025 in thousands from desktop, mobile and social media. What's even worse is the very small loss of traffic that FanPage incurred over time, losing only 6.89% of these unique viewers in 6 months, from August 2025 to February 2026, obtaining a staggering 17,041,000 visitors in the latter month. Around 43,500,000 Italians were active on the internet at least once during that month, as the official Italian system for the detection and distribution of internet audience data Audicom through its service AudiWeb found. In the worst case scenario, we are talking about a disgusting pile of false information potentially consumed by 18,303,000 over 43.5 million people, which is equal to 42% of these people. If we were willing to go as far as trisecting the Comscore results, as those unique visitors were recorded on desktop, mobile and social media, which are 3 distinct sources, we would still be looking at 14% of the entire web population mentioned. And remember that this is the case in which we are dividing the data by 3 based off of no fact whatsoever. We're just doing it out of pure, optimistic, utopian desire. What you can take as fully true is the only automatic numerical figure collected by FanPage itself in the deleted article. That is the amount of times it was shared, 1287. At first glance, it may look ridiculously smaller than the statistics and facts reported prior, but considering that the article lasted just a few hours, 1287 is a concerning amount. One of those article shares is Tommasi's, who broadcasted it to his 500,000 people Facebook audience. The remaining 1286 will have at least been shared to one other person, which already starts to duplicate the number. Who knows how many big groups and online megaphones echoed this divisive propaganda, potentially reaching tens of thousands of people in those couple hours alone. 1286 blind servants of the FanPage terror machine of misinformation, willing to readily ripple those disorderly, entangled, leftist cries. Tommasi likes to talk about memory, both on Facebook and on FanPage. In ricordo, in memory of, these were the words used in the titles. Yet, he should favor terms like hypocrisy, incoherence, perfectly indicative of his true nature. The memory of Samb Modou and Diop Mor does not prevail on the main left-wing political speech. Their memory actually ends as soon as it stops being an asset of pretext that justifies a delirious rant against the government and the people you dislike. Both the dead and the living victims are just no longer important, deserving of any attention or even apology when their names are the provocative lure to spread fake news. Samb Modou's brother, referring to his lost loved one, said this: Samb arrived in Italy in 2000. on a scheduled flight and a tourist visa. He had come with many hopes, including that of seeing his own son grow up here in Florence, in Sesto Fiorentino, where we live. He had left behind his 2-year-old kid. Today he is 13, and he lives with his mother in the capital, Dakar. Mustafa Dieng, although blessed enough to still breathe, paid the price for his life by being sentenced to rest on a wheelchair for the rest of his days. 50% of his body is now nothing more than a heavy drag. But the world must not remember that, because they'd also read about how he was a Moroccan immigrant that unknowingly shattered his legacy while high, an unswallowable truth for Saverio Tommasi and the FANPAGE conglomerate. Please, always seek the truth. Stop reading garbage. Venture for verity and leave out the lies.